Welcome back, YouTube pipe smokers. Mutton Chop Piper here. Well, today's video is entitled The Future of Dunhill Pipe Tobacco. Well, as many of you might have heard, the company that produces Dunhill pipe tobacco has decided to discontinue producing the blend within the next 12 to 18 months. Now, I want to make sure that you understand before we even get into this that only Dunhill tobacco and cigars, pipe tobacco and cigars, are affected. Dunhill pipes and accessories are handled by a totally different company, and those will continue as normal. So the only thing I'm talking about here is just the pipe tobacco and cigars. So again, I want to tell you that the company that is producing the Dunhill line of tobaccos has decided to discontinue making those blends within the next 12 to 18 months. So, why do I think that's happening? Well, before we get into that, I wanted you to know that I wanted to verify to make sure that this story was true. So I've got a contact that's in the world of tobacco, the tobacco world, and he did verify that it is true. So this information I'm passing on to you, to the best of my knowledge, is truthful, and it is something that is happening. So why are they doing this? I think a lot of it has to do with the deeming regulation, the FDA's deeming regulation. Now, the thing that troubles me about this whole situation is, as you know, with the deeming regulation, there was a grandfather date. The grandfather date is February 15th of 2007, which says any blend that was produced and on the market prior to February 15th, 2007 did not have to be tested or certified for sale. Any tobacco after that February 7th, 2015 date do have to be tested and certified. So in my mind, I thought, well, you know, a lot of the tobacco that I like is safe, including the Dunhill blends, because they've been around for years. So I thought to myself, well, at least I'll be able to smoke those, even if everything else goes away. Then realization hit me. I know a lot about the deeming regulation, but there may be aspects to the deeming regulation that I don't quite understand, or that we don't quite know how it will affect a company. Even though the companies that fall within the grandfather date may not have to spend the excessive amount of money to have their blends tested and certified, there are other aspects to the rule that could tip the scale in the direction of just discontinuing the blend, such as packaging and advertising. So there may be something in the packaging area that is causing the company that produces Dunhill to say, look, we're going to have to completely retool the packaging on these tobaccos. It's going to cost us X amount of money. I don't think that we sell enough of these tobaccos to warrant completely retooling and pouring all this money into the blends. So why don't we just discontinue the blends, and that way we don't have to deal with it. In my personal opinion, I think that's what's going on. I think that is a big factor in the reason why they are going to discontinue the blend. So what could happen going forward? Where there's a as and someone has said here recently, there's a buffet of things that could happen. Let's kind of go through that list. All right. The first thing that could happen is that the deeming regulation could go through the process of going through the courts, and it could be watered down. The amount of money it takes to test and certify a blend could be greatly reduced, and the packaging and advertising could be reduced as well, to the point where the company that makes Dunhill says, you know what, I think we can continue making the blend because we don't have to pour all this money into changing the packaging. So they could change their mind that way. Another thing that could happen is the new administration could take a look at the deeming regulation, say it's unfair, and direct the FDA to completely abandon the regulation altogether. That's what I'm hoping for. If that should happen, then that will help us all out greatly, because the tobaccos that are affected by having to be tested and certified won't have to be tested and certified, and the old blends won't have to have new packaging. So then the company could come back and say, okay, we've changed our mind, we're going to continue making the Dunhill blends. Something that I'm afraid will happen. I'm not sure if it will or not, but a good possibility is that the company could come back in 6 months and say, you know what, we're going to accelerate the discontinuing of these blends. Instead of 12 to 18 months, we're going to only give it 10 months. So what this could be is the company could be saying 12 to 18 months to get the word out and to have people start purchasing Dunhill tobacco to seller. And then after 6 months or so, then they're going to change it and say, okay, we're going to accelerate the process. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility. There have been people that are in the club that have suggested it may be just a PR stunt. Maybe the company is saying, hey, we're going to discontinue the blend in 12 to 18 months, get everybody to rush and buy as much of those Dunhill blends as they can before the 18 months is up. And then, let's say 14 months into it, they'll say, you know what, I think we've changed our mind. We're not going to discontinue the blend. I don't think that's what's happening here, and this is the reason why. Because if I go out and I buy, let's say, 510s of Dunhill tobacco, when they say, oh, you know, we're not going to discontinue, we're just going to keep on producing it, I personally am going to say, oh, you're going to keep producing it? Okay, well, I've got 510s of Dunhill, so I don't have to buy any for quite a while. So next thing you know, everybody that's bought up as much Dunhill as they can, they won't have any reason to buy anymore, so it will hit the company's bottom line pretty hard. Now, it is a possibility that it is a PR stunt, but I don't see it being that. So, how should you proceed? What's your next move? What should you do? Well, I can only tell you what I'm going to do. Out of all the Dunhill blends that are produced, I have 4 favorites. Early Morning Pipe, Nightcap, Durbar, and a new one I just picked up. It's called Ye Olde Sign. It's a new offering that they just put out here recently. And in my opinion, it is the same. It smells quite a bit the same as Elizabethan, except it doesn't have the perique that Elizabethan does. That's the reason I think I don't like Elizabethan all that much, is because of the added perique. But Ye Olde Sign is an aged Virginia, and I really love aged Virginia. And the tin that I have was produced in 2016. So it's very flavorful and smoky. I can just imagine what the blend will be like in 5 years once I cellar it. It'll be a deeper and smoother smoke. So I'm definitely going to get a few tins of that to cellar away. So my plan is that I'm going to every month buy 2 or 3 tins of those 4 particular blends. You know, 1 tin of, I may buy 4 tins a month, 1 of each. And then March, buy 4 more tins, once of each. And then if I get a little extra money, I may buy, a little bit more. But I'm going to continue to purchase until either one, I feel I've got enough in my cellar, or they discontinue making the blend altogether. You can do what you want. You look at your finances, you look at what you think in your own mind is going to happen. But that's my plan. I'm going to buy a few tins, 1 of each tin a month until the 18 months is up and I can't get it anymore. That way, at least I'll be able to cellar some away, and in 5 to 7 years, start taking a tin out a month and enjoy it until I've exhausted my whole cellar of Dunhill, and then I'll just move on to something else. Hopefully something else will be still out there that we can smoke. But my hope is that the deeming regulation goes away. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. Until my next video, I want to wish you and your family happy piping.